It's nothing like filming a full video and realizing that you messed up. Nice. Hi, welcome to Knitting Noodles. As you can see, I redid my little workspace. Got a lot of yarn. You can see all my stuff, my reference books, and my little logo. In today's video, we are going to be working on our first project. Yay! We're gonna be doing a knit coaster to put our cups on. So this is one that I previously made, but I'm gonna be making a new one to follow along with all of you. So it's just gonna turn out a nice square. And just so you can keep it on your workspace as you're knitting and put your cup of tea or your cup of water or coffee, whatever you wanna use to drink and stay hydrated. Sip along as you knit. Today, I have some water. So I'm gonna put that on my little coaster. All right, let's get into all the stuff you need and the instructions for how to make this project. All right, for this project, I have two options for everyone. Either what we're gonna need is a size 6 needle. It's a size 6 or a 4.2 or a 4 millimeter. So these are size 6 needles. Either you're going to use these. If you have a size 6, you're going to be using a yarn that's a little bit smaller that has the number 3 on it, a lightweight yarn. So if you have the size 6 needles, you're going to be using a weight 3 yarn. Or if you don't have a weight 3 yarn, what I'm going to need you to do is get yourself a size 7 needle. I don't know if you can see that, it's a little shiny. Size 7 needle. And if you have a size 7 needle, I need you to get a weight 4 yarn. All right, let me show you on here. If you have, again, if you have a size 7 needle, you're going to look for a medium weight or a 4 yarn. So those are your two options. Your two options, either a size 6 and a 3 weight yarn, or a size 7 needle and a weight 4 yarn. All right. Other than that, whatever color, whatever type of yarn that you like, doesn't really matter. All that's important is the weight of the yarn. Now, if you're using the size 7 needle, your project is going to be a little bit bigger than if you're using the smaller yarn, because I am going to tell you to cast on the same amount of stitches. Although if you're using the bigger needles, you may have to do a little bit more work, because if we're going to make it wider, we're going to measure that and see how long that is. We have to work enough rows so that it measures the same lengthwise as it does widthwise. So if you're using a bigger yarn, there's a possibility you might have to work a few more rows, but we'll see. All right, so we have our yarn, we need our needle. The other thing you're gonna need is a ruler to measure your piece. So yarn, needle, ruler, we're gonna need a pen, we're gonna need a piece of paper or sticky notes like what I have. You're also going to need a pair of scissors, and this one is optional, but if you want a nice finished piece with no ends hanging out, you're gonna need a yarn needle or a tapestry needle. So that's what we're gonna need to work this project. So let's get into the instructions. All right, what we are going to do to start off is, first of all, we're gonna make our slip knot. So to review how to do that, I'm gonna cross over the short tail, take the loop, and pass the tail that's still attached to the ball of yarn through there. And we're going to put that onto our needle as our first stitch. And now for this project, no matter what size needle you have, what I want you to do is I want you to cast on 21 stitches. So if you don't remember how to cast on, the video will either be on the screen or down below in the description, and you can watch along for the 2 main types or easiest types of cast-ons. What I'm going to be doing is the knit cast-on, which I personally like the best for beginners. That's how I learned. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into the slip knot that you just put on the stitch, and cross behind, make an X, take the tail still attached to the ball of yarn, not the short tail, up and over the needle. You're going to scoop it through, and you're going to go up through the loop you just made and cross behind like that, and now you have 2 stitches. Now we're going to keep going like this until we have 21 stitches. So let me fast forward this and I will come back with 21 stitches. Okay, I have my 21 stitches cast on here. So now I'm going to need to grab a pen, and I like to have little sticky notes, a pad of paper. And so now I am going to have to work 24 rows. Ay, that might take a while. Okay, we're on row 10 right now, and I just wanted to stop for a second just to show you again slow motion because I realized I didn't. So remember, for knitting, if you need to review how to knit, click the video either up here or down below. And just remember, it's the same as casting on with the knit cast on. It's through, cross, over, scoop it through, and instead of going through here, take it off the needle. So through, scoop, and out. Now you don't have to rest it on your finger at first. I only recently started doing this because it's easier and I can go a lot faster, like so. But to start off with, make sure you have the motions down. So into the stitch, cross behind, pinch, string, up and over, to the side, scoop it through, and off. And now people knit different ways. I believe this way, I forget what way this is called, but there's continental, there's English, I believe there's a Russian way. Some people hold the yarn in this hand while they're working, which doesn't work for me. So I learned this way, so it's a lot easier for me to do it this way. So that's how I'm showing you. But if you know a different way, that's totally fine too. This is just what works for me. And there's so many cool things. Like recently, I've learned so much. Like doing this, I only learned probably a few weeks ago. Just by watching videos and seeing other people who are amazing knitters, I've learned probably more in the past 2 months than I have since I started knitting. Alright, let's finish this row. And there is nothing more fun than learning how to knit. I will show you how to do a purl stitch in a future video, but that's basically the knit is behind, the purl is bringing it in front. But I realized 2 months ago that the whole time that I've been knitting, since I learned from books and I taught myself, I figured out my own way to do it. I learned that I'd been doing the purl stitch wrong the entire time, and I got so excited learning how to do the right way. Because I was like, oh my god, how didn't I figure this out? This is so much easier. So even when you've been doing this for a long time, there's still things that can, 1, either be done easier, 2, work better for you, or 3, you realize you've been doing wrong the whole time. And that's totally fine, and it's actually really exciting to figure out, like, new, better ways how to do things. Alright, I just did another row, so that was row 11. And now we keep going, me till 24. Ay, yeah. Oh, baby woke up. My little pumpkin head woke up. Can you say hi? You say hi to all the people? Oh, you see the light? Wow. Are you gonna help me knit? Are you gonna help me knit? Who's that cutie in the video? Oh, you don't care. You just like lights. All right, so we finished our 30 rows. Now, a good thing to check before we cast off, because it might be different for you, if you knit a little tighter, a little looser. So always check as you go for the measurements. Oops, this way. So across, try to follow one of the lines across, is about 4.5. So the length should also be about 4.5. Another good way to check this is if you could take the corner and fold it up to there, and it makes a triangle. Like this, actually, it almost reaches. I'm gonna do 2 more rows just to get it where I want. And then I'm gonna show you how to cast off. Okay, so I ended up doing 4 more rows, and I got it to a place where I like it. It might not be exact, and it doesn't have to be. I just like the look of this. So let's see, about 4.5. About 4.5. Perfect. I knew I liked the look of it. Alright, and like I said before, checking this way, making sure that this stitch isn't bunched. It's just about. It might need an extra row, but I'm not going to worry about it because casting off actually adds a little bit. So now we're going to cast off, and now if you need a review on how to cast off, the video on the screen or down below if you need a refresher on how to cast off. I'm going to show you slow for the first few stitches, then I'm going to fast forward to the end, then I'm going to show you how to weave in the tails. So remember, the first 2 stitches are like normal knitting, like so. Once you have 2, you're going to take that back loop with your left needle and pass it over the front one. And we're going to continue that across the row. Alright, then I'll see you at the end of this cast off row. Okay, so here we are at the last stitch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it a decent length tail, not too long. Don't need this anymore, put it to the side. And so we take the yarn and pass it through that last stitch to secure it. Look at that, we got a nice little coaster square. And now we have to weave in those tails because it doesn't look as nice with the tails on. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our yarn needle, we're gonna thread that, and I'm just gonna pass it through some of the loops, hide it. This doesn't really matter where you go, you're just trying to hide tails. Oops, I got that out of shot. Sometimes I like just going back and forth on the same row, just to hide that little tail. You want to do a good amount so that if it does accidentally get pulled, that it doesn't all the way unravel. So you do want to weave in a good amount of this. So wherever your heart desires your needle to go, you could go all the way to the top, you could go all the way to the side. Just try to make that yarn hidden. So right there, I think that's good enough for me. So I'm gonna cut that short. Right there. Now you could choose to weave in the entire tail. That's too much for me to do. I don't have that kind of patience. All right, now we're gonna do the cast off side. And now this is bothering me right here, that little space. So I'm actually gonna weave it so we fix that a little bit. Weave it down to the next one. And just by that, see, it kind of fixes it. And we're just gonna keep weaving. Try to keep that tension there so it stays nice like that. No, this side's a little shorter, so I might actually weave in this whole thing. We'll see. So in and out, wherever you want. Doesn't really matter as long as you can't see it. Like, I'd recommend not skipping rows because then you could see it. If you're gonna go to the next row, I'd go in a few stitches, like here. Oop, my little tail. And then we could go to the next row. And I feel like going back this way. All right, I think I'm good with that. So I'm gonna cut that right there. And voila! We have got a nice little coaster. Now, this is with the smaller size. I also did one with the bigger size. I didn't weave these ends in. Around about the same size. I might have made this a little short. Doesn't matter, it's just something to rest your cup on. So these are two different things. They're roughly the same size, even though they used different sized wool, different sized needles. You can see the little bit of a size difference here. And that is a-okay. Hopefully your projects turned out magnificent. If you want to share what you did, feel free to email me at my business email down below to send me pictures. And leave a comment saying how you did. And if you found this video helpful at all. Thank you so much for watching.